What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're getting into the XFL and the college football season. Yeah, that's right. You're getting a 2-for-1 today. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now let's talk about the poll that I've had going out there. It's been a tight race, but it looks like the ACC has pulled it out. Now, one of the things that I've figured out is I can only have up to 5 things on those polls. So all you guys out there for the Sun Belt, I apologize. I apologize to your Appalachian State fans out there. I apologize to all you guys out there. Hey, and all of you that did go through and vote, I appreciate it. Now, I'm going to be starting up another poll, but it's actually going to be 3 different polls. So the key thing is you can vote on all polls if you want, but whatever team gets the most votes out of all 3 polls will be the one that I pick. So we're going to divide it up. We're going to take the ACC and we're going to divide it up into 3 different polls. So make sure you vote for your team that you want and don't vote on the other polls. Now, if you want to vote on each poll, you're more than welcome to. Just remember, though, that those votes will either negate each other or build those teams up. However you look at it, however you want to do it. The choice is up to you. But what I will do is I'll tally up those votes, figure it out at the end, and then that will be the team by the end of the week. You'll know which team it is out of the ACC that I will be picking. So again, thank you guys for interacting and having fun with this. We're going to continue to have fun and see where it goes and see where it leads. Now, to bring me to my next point, I'm going to unveil today the first team that I'm going to be covering this season. And I think it's pretty exciting, and it's one that I'm very, very intrigued by. Now, a few years ago, this team was really put on the national radar. It was put on the national radar by Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has been a guy who has been all around all different sorts of football, from, big Power 5 schools to NFL teams, all over, and just making people mad everywhere he goes, it seems like, and bringing excitement and interesting football and some great storylines, and that was the case. He went to FAU and took a dismal team and brought in a whole bunch of transfers and turned it into one of the best teams in the Conference USA and won the Conference USA 2 out of the 3 years that he was there. Took a terrible, terrible team and turned them into, really a contender in the conference, a big powerhouse in the conference, and a really good program. And that leads me to today. Really, FAU Boca Raton. Yes, that's right. We're going to be covering the beautiful area of Florida. I guess it just makes sense. I've had the pool. I've been enjoying, the nice, we've been having a really good summer weather here in Ohio, and I've been really enjoying it. And what the heck? We'll just, be dreaming while they're down there in Boca Raton. And I figured, what the heck? Let's do it. It's a team that I'm intrigued about. And, they've got just some really, really good storylines. They got, I'll do a preview video coming up here later this week, so it'll be exciting. But they've got all sorts of things. They've got this interesting quarterback situation where they had a really good quarterback, top quarterback in the league last year. Now he's gone. Kicked off the team. We've got a head coach in Willie Taggart who was the hottest thing and now has fallen from grace and needs to get back up. And this is the place where he's landed. Can he build himself back up and build back up the Willie Taggart brand? This is a team that has a lot of talent, but with everything that's been going on, can they pull together all of these new schemes and all of this new stuff and really get there for the Conference USA Championship? Like I said, I'm a storyline guy. I'm a guy who likes story. This has a bunch of stories, and it's a lot of stuff that we can cover and have a lot of fun with, and I'm excited. This team could really head south fairly quickly, or they could be on the rise to be a real big powerhouse in the Conference USA. It can really go either way. They have the talent to pull it off, but they also have enough volatility that this, one way or another, is going to be a fun ride and a fun one to watch. So I'm super, super excited to cover FAU, Florida Atlantic University, cover the Owls this season and see where they go. Hopefully you guys are excited for that one. Now remember, I've got two more teams yet that I'm going to be unveiling. One you guys are picking through the polls. Hit those polls up. And the other one I'll be unveiling to you guys as we go. And with some of the bigger schools, we've got another. We don't have this weekend, but another weekend, and some of them even 2 weekends to get started. So we've got some time to cover some things and go through, do some more grounds and things like that. Now, I'm going to be trying to, with the college football, I'm going to be trying to do more of a podcast style thing. So when it comes to like my weekly picks and stuff, which I'm going to start this week, you're going to see more of that. That's really what I'm going to try to tailor more of my podcast stuff towards. So we'll see what happens. But hey, we're going to get the XFL content in there too. It's not just going to be that. We're going to cover some football stuff. And today, that's another thing that I do want to cover is the XFL, and briefly want to talk about the XFL. And, The Rock came out and he mentioned why he wanted to buy the XFL and what the opportunity buying the XFL meant for him. And listen, it makes sense. He's a guy who always loves to give back. He's a guy who understands. I mean, if you saw a $7 thing, why he keeps the $7 up, up on, he's got it framed, up on his kind of trophy case type of a thing. That is ingrained in him. He's done it with all of his TV shows, trying to, whether it was trying to help people get fit or whether it's this gladiator thing that he's been kind of doing. Throughout his whole career with it, it's all about, helping people obtain their dreams, because he was able to obtain his. He wanted to help others obtain their dream, which I think is awesome. It's exciting. And the truth, it just fits well. I mean, when you see him, you see a guy who's been successful, but you also see a guy who's tried things and failed, but he's risen above all of that and been able to be successful in multiple different areas and really follow his dreams. And that is the thing here. And he uses PJ Walker and lists all the things. PJ Walker is a guy that's told no multiple times. And he's finally now got a shot. He's on a team, and he legitimately could get a chance to play in the NFL this year. So it's super exciting, with that. And it also is one of those things to where it gives guys hope when they know that the guy who is leading their league is not just a businessman, but he's a businessman who's been where they are and understands that. He's been the guy who's been cut from the team. He's been the guy who's trying to, make the team. He's been the guy, that gives more credence to what you're doing. That, this guy's not going to treat me bad because he's been there. He's been where I'm at, not having a dime in his pocket or $7 in his pocket, and he's got to figure out a way to get home, or got to figure out a way to make ends meet. How do I feed my family? How do I provide for my family? I'm working 2 jobs and also trying to figure out how to stay in shape and work on my craft for football to make these teams. Whatever it is, it's like, he knows, he's been there. And so, the guys can trust him more, which I really like that. He's got that trustability. Not only does he have that with, the projects that he's done and, the reputation that he's built around himself, but he's also, he's got that street cred, which is really, really good. So I really like the fact that he's trying to allow guys an opportunity to follow their dreams and put food on the table for their families. And I think that this is a great thing and a great deal for them. Now, I want to touch a little bit more on, I don't want to get down really into the nitty gritty of things, but I really do want to talk where I think that the XFL sits in the whole landscape of professional football. The XFL is not going to be the NFL, and that's just the way that it is. And I think that the XFL and the people looking at the XFL need to understand that. And right now, the XFL is in this place to where, they are lower than the NFL, which makes sense. They can't pay the guys the same amount of money. They can't go through and do a lot of the things that the NFL can do. But what they are doing is giving the guys an opportunity to follow their dreams, which I think is huge, and it's a big, big deal. But these guys that have moved from the XFL into the NFL, and a lot of them have been cut. Now, there are guys that are still making teams, and there are guys that are still out there that are still hustling and doing that, and I think that that's good. But For me right now, that's not the end all be all is making it into the NFL. The XFL is going to be a different product than the NFL, and they designed it in such a way. Now, unless, the new owners go through and just ravage everything and change everything up, which it doesn't look like. Looks like they're going to keep kind of the core of what the XFL is and the style of ball that the XFL is, which is a little bit more faster paced ball than the NFL, more akin to college ball, but yet with that pro side of things, emphasized. And I think that it's really going to give guys an opportunity, not just guys that are on the fringe of making NFL teams, but guys who the NFL might not want that could really be stars in this league, whether it be, some of those guys that are running quarterbacks that don't get a shot, some of those, those kind of obscure guys who are super athletic, but the NFL doesn't really know what to do with because they don't fit in a prototypical mold. They can come out and be athletes there and really shine. There's a lot of opportunities here, and you're going to see here if the XFL can really come through and succeed, and I think a lot of it has to do with if we can get past, this kind of world crisis that we've had. If we can get past that and move past this and get back to some normalcy, I think the XFL over the next probably 3 to 5 years really build a brand of themselves as not minor league football, but professional football and their own brand of football. Like this is different, meaning, you've got the CFL, which is different than the NFL. And I'm not saying that much of a dichotomy, that much of a difference. But when I go and I watch a pro football game and I watch, an NFL game, and when I watch a college game, there are big differences. Meaning, how the game's played, clock stopping on first downs, the 1 foot in rule. And there are other rules that coincide with that you pay attention to. And that's the same thing when you're going to look at the XFL as opposed to the NFL. And I think that the XFL can really bring themselves in here and make a brand to where they might attract some guys, and to where once you get past that 5-year mark, I think that you might really start to see some of these guys who might be able to be enticed into coming into the XFL, and you might start seeing guys who are career guys in the XFL and might like the XFL and stay in the XFL and might not ever transition to the NFL. You might end up with your guys who, your Herschel Walkers, your Jim Kellys, and and things of that nature. We'll see what happens with it. But as I'm kind of looking at this, the guys staying in the NFL, I think it's a good thing if the XFL shows that, yes, that they can produce things and put guys to the next level, but it's not the end-all be-all for me. So as guys are getting cut, I'm kind of in the middle. It's kind of indifferent because I want to say that, these guys can make it. These guys are good talent. These XFL players, they are NFL talent guys. But on the same token, I'm kind of like some of you guys. I'm like, yes, I want to go ahead. Let's, it's like, yes, we can get that guy back. We can bring him back. He can get back in the league. We can have the talent back. We know what he can do and bring him back in. He can play good football. And so there's that. But then I'm kind of there in the middle as well. And I'm like, on some fronts it's good and on some fronts it's bad. But I just wanted to kind of touch on that real quick, that I think that this is going to be a long play and not a short play, and that the XFL, instead of us all getting caught up in the idea of our guys making it into the NFL and that's how we determine success, or anything with that, with the personnel, what caliber of guys we're getting. We really need to focus on what's the product on the field. Is it a good product on the field? Is it exciting? Is it competitive? And if that's the case, then I think that the XFL will be successful, and that's kind of where I stand with it. I mean, we watch college football yearly and, religiously with a lot of players that will never make it on an NFL roster, never get a sniff of a roster or even an invite, but yet give us good, compelling, and, watchable exciting football week in and week out. And if we can get that out of the XFL, I think that the XFL will be around to stay, and I think it'll be a good thing for it. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going on with that. But I just kind of wanted to touch on that kind of briefly, because that's kind of where I sit with things, and I hope that you guys kind of understand that I'm not on one side or the other. I'm kind of in this middle where the XFL needs to come out and really drive. I think they did a really good job this past year, but they need to continue to drive home that they're a good brand, and The Rock used that. He needs to use that reputation that he has to build up the rapport and show, that they are, a trustworthy place where you can come and you can, really try to pursue your dreams. And so that's kind of my thoughts with it. The question is what do you guys think? I'd love to know down in the comment section. And also too, let me know what you think about the whole college football thing, what your thoughts are about the podcast stuff, and, kind of keep hitting me up with that stuff. I'd love to hear that as well. All right, guys, I know that you're busy. I know that I'm busy. So let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.